Frankly speaking, I was doing everything under the roof. Whatever I used to read, whatever I used to hear, I used to just apply it in my life. All those fixes, all the trends happening. But by the end of it, everything just lived very temporary. It was a very short lived wellness, I can say. And soon after that, I will be back into the mode where I will not be digesting well, where I will not be sleeping well. I won't be feeling the true me. So that phase was really frustrating and annoying at the same time for me. I'm not fearing कि oh ये समोसा खा लिया, it is going to increase so many issues in my body, मेरा कल weight बढ़ जाएगा, or I will have an acne or something like that. So when the inner shifts happen, there is no association with guilt and fear, and you start feeling very light in yourself. I know how to balance. So when I know how to balance when I'm eating out, I know what to eat at the food and what to order outside. So that is where the joy comes because you are flexible. So eating out is not making me fearful, is not making me guilty. At the same time, I'm enjoying with my friends and family. When we begin on some kind of plan, I tell them that, are you looking for something immediate? Ki I have to reduce 5 kgs in 15 days. I have to get well from this thing in next 1 month. So things do not work in numbers when you talk about healing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Velocity. We are doing the special series of Voices of Change. In a world that's constantly telling us to fix ourselves, eat better, do more, try harder, today's conversation offers a gentler truth. That's how I would like to say it. On Soul Velocity today, I'm joined by Poonam Kassad, an integrative nutrition coach, health coach who believes that real wellness begins not on the plate but in the nervous system. So, this conversation kind of is going to be about slowing down and discovering health from within. So, take a pause. Let's jump into the conversation. Hi, Poonam. Thank you so much for being here today and giving us your time. I am very, very, very excited to also tell everyone that you are a part of the series Voice of Change book, which was recently launched. So, thank you again for choosing Mind Spirit Works, for being a part of the book. Are you ready to jump into the conversation?
Yes, thank you, Snehal, so much for this wonderful introduction. And I am glad to be with you and in this conversation where we can help people to really understand what slowing down means when it comes to nutrition and wellness.
Trust me, I'm the first person who genuinely needs it because I'm always running. So I'm so looking forward to the conversation today. Poonam, your journey into wellness kind of began from your own lived experiences. You were eating well, practicing yoga, taking supplements, yet your body was struggling. Can you tell us what was that phase all about, or what was it for you?
Well, that phase was quite difficult for me. Frankly speaking, I was doing everything under the roof. Whatever I used to read, whatever I used to hear, I used to just apply it in my life. All those fixes, all the trends happening. But by the end of it, everything just lived very temporary. It was a very short lived wellness, I can say. And soon after that, I will be back into the mode where I will not be digesting well, where I will not be sleeping well. I won't be feeling the true me. So that phase was really frustrating and annoying at the same time for me. It was quite a struggle to understand that how come not doing everything is bringing me in that perfect wellness space. Well, there is nothing such as perfect, but something which makes you feel happy from within after doing so much. Yeah, that's when the realization dropped in that food is definitely an integral part, but is something more. There was a missing link.
So, when was that moment? When did you realize that food alone isn't the answer?
So, what was happening? The same food category. you can say a clean eating or a healthy eating was making me feel good on certain days, but the same food group was also making me feel heavy, bloated, and even acidic on certain other days. So it was quite a flux, quite confusing that वो सेम खाना आपको हर दिन कैसे differently react कर सकता है body में. And that's when I realized that apart from food, the way you sleep, your movement, the way you feel, the way you live, the way you breathe is something which is equally important as food.
Interesting. Now I'm rethinking. So I have a few friends and even family members who kind of eat exactly the same breakfast every single day. And now I'm wondering with your connection or what you're saying, how did you sleep? How was your day? What is your, that day looking like? Actually does change a lot of things. It's not just about Yeah, it's not just about food. I'm so glad you're saying that. What did that turning inward, or towards nervous system, emotional balance kind of teach you, which you're helping everyone with today?
Well, turning inward for me was more like trying to understand what my body is signaling. So your body always communicates either through symptoms, either through cravings, fatigue, or your energy levels. So when I slowed down or when I turned to my inner rhythm, listening what is happening, I realized that instead of doing so many things, if I just give the right inputs at the right mode of my being, my body is intelligent enough to heal on its own. It's not about doing more, it's about understanding what your body needs. That's what I can connect with in a rhythm. Yeah.
Can you expand a little bit more? So this is where I'm a little curious, when you say your body speaks, you have an inner rhythm. How does one listen to it? Like, can you give me some examples of, you know, what would
Yes, of
be
course.
good?
Uh, I have a very hectic day. I have a long day ahead. I'm always, I'm sure that I'm going to get a burnout. There's a lot of moving out. There's a lot of eating out. If just I take 10 minutes of slowing down before I begin my day or just a day prior to it, I can give the right inputs in the term. I know I'm going to have a burnout. So I need to have this kind of a hydration, or I need to do the breath work before my meals, or I just need to make sure that I still move in my hectic days or create a movements on my desk. So when you slow down and you understand how your day is going to flow and what condition are you into? Are you very overwhelmed? Are you very tensed? You need to listen to that. So when you slow down, only then you will understand that what your body is trying to tell you. Suddenly, if I have a craving of too much salt, so you need to slow down and you have to listen. That craving of salt is coming from lack of hydration, lack of minerals in your body. So when I understand that, firstly I take certain deep breaths, then I start adding that, tiny hydration techniques into my daily routine, where I know I can take my day easily just by not overwhelming by too many things, but doing as needed. And that happens only when you slow down and understand what your day looks like and how you feel about it.
I I can relate to that because yes, you can only listen when you are present, and in running you're never present. You also, Poonam, often say that body must feel safe before it can digest, repair, and heal. Can you help us understand that in like simple everyday terms?
So when I say body must feel safe, I think many of us are aware these days that our body lives in two states. One is the sympathetic nervous system mode, another is parasympathetic nervous system mode. So when we talk about a sympathetic nervous system mode or an alert mode, that is when our body is very overwhelmed. It sees everything as a threat. So even a traffic signal, even a WhatsApp message just opens up, all your wires and you're very, very alert. So that's called alert or a survival mode, where all your body functions, slows down because it is just focusing on making you survive that moment. So
Mm-hmm.
when that happens, the metabolism reduces, your digestion is impacted, and nothing works well. Even your clean eating and supplements won't help you in that mode. When we talk about parasympathetic or a digesting mode, your body is feeling safe, as in it doesn't see things as threats like a
Mm-hmm.
lion coming around. So it feels safe inside itself. It goes into that mode of digestion. So, in whatever I serve you on the plate, the simplest meal or even a bit of junk meal, that is well assimilated in your body because your body knows everything around you is safe. You're in the mode of digestion. So, when you say your body heals when you are safe, it means that when you feel safe, when you are in parasympathetic nervous system mode, your body starts feeling safe and digesting well. And everything is, multifoldly magnified. The effect of food, the effect of supplements, the sleep, movement, everything counts.
Interesting. But there are so many rigid diets that people follow. But, why do you think these rigid diets, these quick fixes, often, leave people feeling emotionally failed or disappointed? What's your take on that?
So, when we talk about quick fixes, rigid diets, I associate them with a lot of fear. you know Fear of me gaining weight, fear of me not having that toned body, fear of reaching a certain number. So when there is a fear, restriction attached to it, there is a force attached to it, you never feel comfortable. There is no emotional connection happening. For example, supposing if you get sick, what are you going to reach out for? You tell me, Snehal, if you are sick, will you be reaching out for a salad or you will be reaching out for garam dal chawal?
Garam dal chawal.
Absolutely. So is the case even when you're feeling emotionally drained.
Right.
So until you connect, until there is a connection, until there's a comfort, it is not going to last longer. Because you cannot. So when you think about childhood, when you think about childhood memories, so the thing which you connect will be dal chawal or will be roti sabji. Anything fancy or complex will not entice you on those days when you can't handle. That is why these fixes only last for a very short period of time. They give you short term results. And once you're back to your normal self, you're back to the weight you wanted to skip or the disease you wanted to put in remission. It is so much to do with, again, your emotional attachment to the food.
True. And I personally do believe that, food has memories. Even when we're talking about five senses, you cannot eat without activating all your five senses. And they definitely are associated with memories because even sometimes just walking down the lane and you smell something and you're like, huh, this reminds me of this. So whether we like it or not, we do have emotional connect with food. Aware or not aware, it exists. Um, Poonam, we have been talking about listening, to your body. So, what shifts when people actually just stop fighting their bodies and start listening? So, what is it shift? How would I know that, yes, I am listening to my body now?
So when that shift happens, you don't associate anything with the guilt. As a nutritionist or as a health coach, if I went outside and I ate a plate of indulgence, maybe an ice cream, maybe samosas, or whatever the local food is, I'm not guilty about it. I'm not fearing कि ओहो ये समोसा खा लिया, it is going to increase, so many issues in my body, मेरा कल weight बढ़ जाएगा, or I will have an acne or something like that. So when the inner shifts happen, there is no association with guilt and fear, and you start feeling very light in yourself. It's not about restriction. I am telling you, I'm as a coach telling you, Snehal, you're supposed to eat this and you're not supposed to eat that. This line just diminishes because you know what your body feels like, and it's just that you enjoy every bit of it. Whether it is, simple food, it's about balancing. I feel it's more about balancing. Your body understands, your mind understands, and is joy.
can I go a little further here? Like, just because we are talking about guilt and, uh, you know, knowing and doing. I know that this is what I'm supposed to eat, probably because, my nutritionist, my dietitian has told me to do it. But my life situation at times looks different. Like, people like me who travel, okay, we don't have control over what food I'll get at a particular point in time. If I'm traveling a lot, I don't have access to my own kitchen. I don't have access to go ahead and just order at times saying, let this come. At that time, it is so natural for guilt to kick in where you keep wondering that, okay, should I prioritize work or should I prioritize this? And work is also important because that is something that you're passionate about and you love about. So, how can one get rid of the guilt? Where I am comfortable that, okay, this is what was available and I am taking care of my body. But knowing and doing is very different. You don't want to have the guilt, but the guilt does kick in.
So true, Snehal, that knowing and doing are two different things. But first, knowing is very important. Awareness is very important. Once you know that this food group is important for me and this isn't working for my body, that awareness, when it kicks in, you have taken step one. After the awareness, now when you said you are traveling so much, but you always have a choice. When you're eating out, you always have a choice to add more vegetables, asking your server or your restaurant or wherever you are. You always have a choice to opt for foods which are more gut friendly than the food which are not so gut friendly, maida, fried, and stuff like that.
Understood.
And I think it is more about creating a balance. And even before you indulge into the food, what I just spoke to you about, that you must be in that mode of digestion. You need to take those pauses. I know your day is very rushful. Just giving 2 minutes to yourself before your meals for deep belly breaths is non-negotiable. You cannot tell me कि अरे time नहीं था. You have that
Hmm.
choice to give yourself those 5 minutes before your meals or create that movement post your meals. So sometimes, again, it is just not about what you are eating. It is about how you are eating and how you're feeling at that point of time. So you can always create a balance. That's what I believe. It's about prioritizing. I know prioritizing work and health, but at the same time, reaching that sweet spot where you understand that health is equally important as work, and you can always find that balance.
I like what you said. It's possible to just pause, and I don't think it even takes that 5 minutes before the meal to take those four deep breaths. It's not that much. It's just about awareness that, okay, it's this moment now, and I need to kind of slow down, bring my body to a state which is ready. And again, as you said, health is important as much as work, and reminder of that at times is needed. There's so much running at times, and that's why I said today's conversation is so much for me personally, because I feel I'm always running and I have people around me saying, Ruk ja, thumbs up, wait, you know. Uh, so thank you for saying that. But I also know that you yourself don't believe in, as you earlier also said, there's no perfect diet or there are no rigid diets. So how does harmony with food truly look like?
Harmony. So when we talk about harmony, as I was just spoke, that awareness. Once you know more about food pairing, food sequencing, and the food plating, with the tools which can reset your nervous system in just 2 minutes. When you have this kind of a knowledge and awareness, the food harmony is just there with you.
Hmm.
So for me, the food harmony is having that basic knowledge about the food you're eating, what suits your body, along with those breaths or any other activity just which stimulates your nervous system back to the parasympathetic mode. And it might sound bigger and overwhelming, but believe me, it isn't. It's just awareness.
Come to think of it, even I'm just kind of moving from feeling, oh my God, how much to do, to it's not that much, as we are talking as well. But there is that question that kind of creeps in every now and then, which is uh, there is this myth, and I would say it is a myth, that people who are extremely disciplined don't know how to enjoy their life. Okay. And that's how it is always looked upon. So sometimes when you want to enjoy and we want to just go crazy, we feel discipline is binding us down. Or somebody who has always been living each day to its own finds discipline something that is very hard to do. So, do you think, or how do you think discipline and joy can coexist in a wellness journey?
I think it absolutely can coexist. Discipline to me is more about consistency.
Hmm.
Discipline to me is also about flexibility. So people, people who, as you said, are people who are following very rigid regimes, diets, movement and stuff like that. That becomes a stress in its own form, right? But so discipline, I cannot equate it to something very restrictive. Discipline is about consistency, about knowing that this is what my day, this is what my life look like, and this keeps changing over a period of time. So I have to also keep changing my routines and not being very rigid or strict towards them. Knowing yourself, slowing down to understand again what your body is signaling is where the joy kicks in. So if I have to say, supposingly, I have to eat out all 4 nights. I have to go in
Mhm.
parties all 4 nights. Now, if I'm being a nutritionist, I'm very strict. I don't want to eat this and I don't want to eat that. I don't want to tag myself ki gluten free hai, vegan hai, stuff like that. I know how to balance. So when I know how to balance when I'm eating out, I know how what to eat at the food and what to order outside.
Hmm.
So that is where the joy comes in because you are flexible. So eating out is not making me fearful, is not making me guilty. At the same time, and I'm enjoying with my friends and family. So they're not also feeling that, ye to kuch khati nahi hai.
Hmm.
It's difficult to move out with her. It's not the case. So discipline is about the balance and consistency, and the joy just follows when you are consistent. तो वो एक simple सा meal भी होता है ना, it hits your dopamine and you feel
Hmm.
joyous.
Interesting. Because I think that's where that balance, or the guilt of how do I handle relationships if I'm going on a diet. It's not just about me going on a diet, or it's not even diet. It's a change of lifestyle. It's how you're looking at yourself and how you're taking care of yourself. But in that, sometimes these things do play a role where you wonder, okay. And I'm sure as a nutritionist, you may have come across a lot of clients who would say, I really want to start this now, but there is an event coming. So let me start
Yeah.
after that. Okay, there is this coming up, तो मुझे पता है मुझसे कुछ follow नहीं हो पाएगा, so I will do after that. Or even I have done that a lot of times, saying, hey, you know what, I really want to start right away, but I know my next 3 weeks I'm traveling crazy. I'll probably not be able to do anything you're saying. Let me start post that. And I've lost 3 weeks. And then when I come back, life has taken over for me to again realize that, oh, I have to, reconnect, get it done. I think 6 7 months have passed and time has just gone by. Do you have any examples or any stories that you would like to share with us of how the shift happened and how irrelevant of, because you work with uh, you know people who are bringing changes in their life, in their lives and other people's lives, people who are impacting, you're talking to leaders, so they definitely don't have an easy life. So how are they making it happen? Any stories that you can share with us?
So I have a lot of clients who keep telling me that, a week later, next month, abhi Diwali hai, Christmas hai, New Year hai. And I always tell them that it is about prioritizing. What is priority for you? And you must understand, health is something which is the base. If you do not have health, you are going nowhere, whether it is traveling, whether it is work, whether it is home or kids. So you have to prioritize, the first thing. Second thing, the life is always going to keep happening. So today you're traveling, tomorrow there'll be something at home, then there'll be a celebration or there'll be some sad event. So it's an ongoing process. So until you prioritize that your health is important, There is no timeline. There is no, there is, you will not be able to take it. So even when you're traveling, so there are health practitioners which give you diet or a lifestyle change which is helpful during traveling too. So yeah, so I think this keeps happening a lot, and that's what I keep telling my clients, that it is about you giving that devotion and priority to your health.
True. And I think sometimes that does take a back seat. Like every year at the beginning of the year, we do all these workshops of setting visions, goals, okay? And it's very surprising, Poonam, and I'm till date surprised. I've been doing this for over 8 or 10 years now. And when I look at that list, okay, all those clients who have continuously told me, Snehal, health is my priority, and I want to make sure that this year I'm making it happen. When they're writing their goal sheets, when they're writing their visions, they've forgotten to write about health in the first place. It's just not there in the list. And that's where I think your question does come into picture. Is it your priority? It does come down to priorities. Is it important enough for you, or is it something that you just remember when you're hitting? And I think and I know, when somebody picks up that call to connect with a nutritionist, we're not connecting because things are good. We're connecting because
Yes,
something is
thing
not in
has gone
alignment.
wrong.
Either your
Yes.
body is not speaking the way it is, either it is not running how you want it to function and run, or you know that you are lagging or feeling heavy or whatever it is, but it's never a good state. Okay, very few people are aware in advance saying, this is where I'm heading, this is how I'm aging, I need to take care of this, and it is looked at from a positive space. So when you are saying, and generally, slowing down is not something a dietitian talks about. It's always about, do this, do that, you have to work out, you have to do this, you have to do that. Okay, and you're speaking something that is kind of not what everybody
Contrary.
else says. Contradictory is how I would say it. So what role, and I'm sure you're speaking very much from a long term perspective, something that will last long. So how does slowing down and bringing that rhythm help long term? Like, what are the shifts and changes? Because then your clients are not getting those quick, fast results. Okay, and it needs a lot of patience to see that change. So what would you say goes in it?
So there's a lot of devotion. There's a lot of accountability and confidence from both the side. When we begin on some kind of plan, I tell them that, are you looking for something immediate? Ki I have to reduce 5 kgs in 15 days. I have to get well from this thing in next 1 month. Things do not work in numbers. When you
Hmm.
talk about healing, if you're looking for something sustainable, you need to give that span of time, that kind of a devotion and patience.
Hmm.
So when these three things work together, along with the right inputs in the terms of where I tell them that this is the food groups is what is suiting your body right now. So just hold on to those food groups and skip certain for certain period of time. Bring yourself back to your breath. Be present. Create those movements in your body. सुबह सिर्फ 1 घंटा जिम जाने से your body is reacting well. I'm not very convinced with the fact. You have to create a movement throughout the day. You have to make sure that you're sleeping well, because until you sleep well, nothing is getting repaired. So I believe that when we talk about any sustainable results to be seen in the program, we are focusing on each pillar. So where we talk about sleep, movement, your food groups, and your emotional well-being. Definitely, the food groups take care of your nutrition and supplements. So it's a very wholesome and holistic approach, rather than number or calorie counting thing, which I usually do with this. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, as I also relate to, wellness is supposed to be an empowering thing in our life. Okay, like we say, health is wealth, and it's supposed to be an empowering thing. But I feel somewhere we start paying attention to health when it reaches the stress category. I am not well and it is now bothering me and that is causing me stress, and that's when I'm doing it. So if wellness was no longer a source of stress, how do you think every day would feel like?
Think it changed for me. So पहले wellness was very too much work for me. ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, आज मुझे dry brushing करनी है, आज मुझे deep breathing करनी है, आज मुझे ये fruit group खाना है, ये supplement, very overwhelming. But when I started shifting to that inner rhythm, what we are talking about, that parasympathetic mode, everything became very joyous. So instead of demanding, it became very supportive. So wellness is not a stress, it becomes very supportive rather than demanding. That's what I would say. And you will feel very light and joy. It will not be something which takes over your routine, but something which fits into your daily life.
Interesting. One belief about health you wish more people would learn so this becomes easy, natural, and effortless.
Um, one belief that I want people to know and learn. That will be
One
like
belief about health.
about health. Yes. Breath and movement are absolutely essential, as is your food and sleep.
Hmm.
Because of this overwhelming, over demanding world where we all are overstimulated, where we just don't realize that we are not moving and getting stagnant and stuck, that is where the problem arises. So we need to take those simple pauses. We need to create those simple movements around your work, on your table, desk, chair, wherever. But these two are like really important.
So, Poonam, as we're talking about alignment, we're also talking about listening to our own body. And as I said, you are kind of contradicting what rest of the nutrition world is talking about. So, what kind of change do you hope your work creates in how people relate to their bodies?
Well, so when I work with my clients, firstly, I'm trying my best to remove the word perfectionism from their lives, which is the most difficult task, I believe. There is no such thing as a perfect health, perfect diet, perfect routine, perfect workout. Our bodies are evolving and changing, and so is our environment every single day. So there is no such thing as a perfect. Every day you need to learn, unlearn, learn, and evolve. This is the base of my teachings or my way of coaching to my clients. And that is what really makes a difference. When you
Hmm.
try and give up on perfectionism and the word let go starts getting into your system, that is when your nervous system starts shifting. Once that starts happening, the simple food groups, they also start bringing the changes in your body that you're looking at, whether it is better energy, glowing skin, good hair, optimal weight. It just follows. And
Hmm.
that's how I'm trying to bring the change in the field of nutrition and wellness than just talking about food. Yeah.
I love that. And Poonam, I think you have been doing that successfully and, bringing that change and shift into people's life as well as mindset, most importantly, because I think one of the best wellness myth that you are breaking, which, as you said, is not that easy, is perfection and knowing and understanding that there is no perfect body, no perfect, routine, no perfect anything. Um, is there one daily practice, okay, that you can recommend that quietly changes everything? Like one simple practice that each one of us can just begin as a starting point.
Well, then, if that's the one thing I have to talk about, is that's the breath. Breath
Hmm.
really makes a difference. It shifts your nervous system immediately to a calmer mode. And once you are calm, once you take that pause to realize that you're breathing and what kind of breathing it is, your reaction changes. So every action has a reaction. But if
Hmm.
you take a pause before that reaction, so many things change around you. So there is less anxiousness, there are less arguments, there are, less conflicts. And when such environment starts evolving around you, you automatically shift to that calmer state. And then the food, supplements, sleep, everything just, take its own place and give you that optimal kind of enthusiasm, optimal kind of living, and the joy within you. And you even sleep
Interesting.
better. And then you feel like moving also. People just, there are clients of mine who just want to, don't feel like moving. They're so depressed. They're, just trying to eat well, but nothing is moving in them. So that
Hmm.
stagnancy. So when you shift your breath, and I think everything just follows because you create that space within you.
Interesting. I think we do take breathing as a very taken for granted part of our body functioning, and we don't realize how powerful it can be. The power of breath, and being aware of how intentionally you're breathing does bring in the shift. And as you said, that stagnancy or the energy, because we always say that anything that is stagnant for long will stink over a period of time. So when we're talking about even our energy in the body, I think breath is the fastest thing that we can change. It's like dusting off the old and bringing in the new. Poonam, it has been amazing talking to you and seeing someone speaking in a language that we understand. Okay, that's how I'm going to frame it, because yes, the words diet, routine, most of the times do feel overwhelming, especially for individuals who carry a kind of busy lifestyle. Okay, who have external environment defining their routines in a way, because there is commitments and so on. And what you're saying, and when you're talking about slowing down, it makes so much more sense. So let me take that one step further, because as women, and I'm kind of going to make this about women, just for this one thing. Guilt, I think, comes to us very naturally. Taking time off for yourself makes you feel guilty. If you can't wake up one day early just because you couldn't make that tiffin for your kid, also makes you guilty. I think we have found ways to feel guilty. Okay, and we find it in many different ways. So that is there. And then there is this expectation that if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And therefore, running through life is a natural state. If you have someone who makes comments or says, I'm not going to do that, it is generally looked down upon at times, saying, you're too stubborn, how can you be so selfish, and so on. So, when all of this exists in a very natural world and environment that we live in, okay, how can slowing down be a self care act?
So, see, what you are saying is so relatable, and all of us float in the same boat. We have been seeing our mothers. This is what our upbringing is, that we have always seen them doing, grandmothers, mothers, always doing, giving, never putting themselves in priority. And as you said, if you don't do it, you put it as a rude person or a selfish person. It's better to be called selfish than drowning yourself in that, you know, phase where you can't just live up to look yourself into the mirror and say that yes, you have done so much. There you have to somewhere create those boundaries without apologies. It's not easy. Again, a
Mm-hmm.
journey, but small steps, a small nose where it is not important for you to step in is important. When you step out, somebody is going to definitely step in. Okay, whether it is making your children more independent or whether asking your husband for that extra help, there is no harm.
Mm-hmm.
Because you cannot keep giving from an empty cup. How long? So when you keep giving, then you see that you have issues like diabetes, PCODs, PCOS, and then after doing a while, after afternoons, many of my clients post afternoon, they're just so drained and dull that they don't feel like getting up, out of the bed after that or doing anything. So until you understand that you have to keep filling your cup, you can't keep giving.
Hmm.
because that's just draining you. So it is about getting yourself, um, boosting yourself to give yourself that mental strength that it is okay to rest. Rest without feeling guilty. That is also one of the kind of nourishment. And that is where I talk about perfectionism. मैं ही सब कर सकती हूँ, मेरे
Hmm.
अलावा जो करेगा वो काम perfect नहीं होगा. So stop giving into that perfection. It's okay if the 2 cups are lying extra on your kitchen platform. It's okay. It's okay if the food is not wow today, right? It's okay if I couldn't give that one extra tiffin to my child, but she had so many other options to pick from the dry snacks. I know I'm a nutritionist. My kids have to eat healthy. But until I prioritize myself, how can I make them healthy? And by the end, they're copying me, as we have copied our mothers and grandmothers.
We
So if
do.
they see me doing, giving, never putting myself as a priority, that's what I'm teaching to my children.
Hmm.
So it's a never ending thing until you bring that change within yourself. And that is going to be a smaller change each single day. Then
True.
rather than just revolting ki, aaj to nahi ho paega. Start doing, taking those small steps. People adjust, you adjust, kids learn.
Absolutely. I think that's the legacy we got to start creating when I shift and change. And that shift lasts longer, I think the next generation will automatically pick up on the shift that I have made. And when we talk about healing and we talk about, breaking those generational curses, I think this is one of them which I can categorize and say, hey, can we change the way we're looking at ourselves so that, and I think the next generation is pretty aware, but when the time comes to making decisions in pressure situations, we end up doing what we have always seen our parents doing. So it's about preparing for that moment. So thank you. Thank you, Poonam, for an amazing conversation. Is there anything that you want to say before we close for today?
um, to all the audience and to everybody around, that more important than what's on your plate is at how you're eating it, in the mode you are eating it. Once you know how to get back to your mode of calm, the things will fall on its place automatically.
Beautifully said. Thank you. And again, thank you, Poonam, for reminding us that health doesn't need to be loud or harsh to be effective. And sometimes the deep healing begins when we choose calm over control. It was an amazing conversation. And guys, that's Poonam for you. We hope to see you very soon for more detailed conversations about this. So, thank you once again for being here. And, guys, I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, please remember we all are born abundant. All we need to do is take that one step at a time. I hope you have taken that step today. I will see you soon.